Hello, everyone. Welcome to Going 19, the Stephen King podcast. Today is episode 56, where we continue our discussion on part one of Wolves of the Calla. I am Ed. With me are Amber and Ali. Let's start the show.
uh Always now doing like two-word sentences. I was impressed. He was like, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, "Wait, what?" That's almost like having a conversation now. This business about 19 had gotten a trifle weird. I like how Eddie's like contemplating it. Like, I don't know
Contemplating
what 19 means.
Well, I do. So at first I was like, come on, Roland. Obviously this is important. But I also get what Roland's saying, where he's like, yeah, I see it. But like, what are we going to do? Like, keep seeing it. It's going to show itself when it means something.
Yeah, he's got that was part of his speech. Like, I don't have time for number games or something. Uh, and it's funny because you know where it came from. So it's just Roland's like the anti Stephen King almost. He's like, I don't know what that means, and yeah, like we'll figure it out. We got enough going on right now without worrying about some mystical number. I think that's what he says, or
The
something
other
like that.
problem is that Roland is doing this shit again, where he knows about Mia, and he's like, well, I'm not going to tell them right now because it's whatever. I have to figure out when time is right. So like he's thinking about that, but nobody else knows that he's thinking about that.
Yep. Well, and especially at the end too, when they're like they're seeing dead people in New York, and he kind of like calls Susanna out, and he's like, "That's not what happened. Tell us for real." And I'm like, "Okay, you're one to talk." Like, come on, you don't tell them shit.
And it's frustrating because it's like that's just Roland. We're like, oh, Roland can read people so well. They're not going to be able to pick up on the fact that he's lying.
Yep.
By omission.
Why would he not tell them?
Well, I think it's Eddie right now because he knows
Would you say
that he knows that babe. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, I was just saying because he's an ass and he doesn't actually trust anyone.
Roland knows that baby is not Eddie's, and I think Eddie would think that it was, and so he's like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this right now. Let's just not make it an issue until it has to be.
Do we know that's not Eddie's baby?
We don't know 100%, but Roland is like, he like looks at her, alligatoring around in the swamp eating like live animals, and he's like, does a normal baby eat like that?
That's Mia. That's
her.
Right, but why would like I understand his logic. Like a normal, you're not going to get those cravings from. Okay, so then where did Mia come from then?
Yeah. Well, no,
I'm divided girl of mine.
I'm not debating that it's not Eddie's baby. I definitely don't think it's Eddie's baby. I think it was whatever the demon put inside of her when she bested it when pulling Jake through. But like, how I don't understand how she is so separated that she can eat a frog whole and not have it like cause her severe pain and like intestinal distress.
I would say I agree, except for she's had experience separating herself.
She's very good at hiding from herself, but she seems to suspect.
Body different though. Like, you can separate your mind and still have physical symptoms in your body of what the shit you ate last night.
Right, but she was making up reasons for them before, like so the physical symptoms she could be attributing to something else and not even thinking about it like that, like like making up. I don't know.
Yeah, when she got into situations where the personalities were going to have to face each other, she would make something up to like avoid it.
Right. But I do agree with Roland where it's like, especially the headaches should be her number one sign. Does she get headaches otherwise? Like, come on.
And also, yeah, I don't. And would she be? So she's walking around all night and then walking around all day. Which she's not really sleeping.
Right.
Yeah.
How is she not just passed out, exhausted?
Like, you need to eat for 2, but you also need to sleep for 2.
Yeah, and I made a note here. One of these, we get to follow Susanna herself at one point, and I was like, That's a rare Susanna perspective, and I think that's part of the issue I have. I don't get with Susanna a lot. Like I guess you would say inside her head, no pun intended, but
Yeah,
um,
we had a lot more of like Detta and Odetta, and not as much really Susanna.
we had a lot of Odetta's perspective, yeah, but not.
Even
We don't.
now, I mean, we barely had. You're right. We had like a chapter of Susanna because most of what we saw was Mia.
Yeah, and
True.
that's why I don't really think like I connect with her. She she's like I feel like she's always up to something. Um, we go from Detta to I forget what the what was after Detta. She did something, and then we got Mia. Like she's just maybe that's why Roland's keeping secrets because she's keeping secrets. But it doesn't. I feel like Roland should at least be telling Jake. Well, how do you?
Well,
So,
that's
so he's
weird.
not telling Eddie because of who Eddie is. And Eddie's gonna be like, "Fuck you, that's my kid." There's no way she's like. How does nobody else? How does Eddie not wake up at all and not notice that she's not there? Ever.
Yeah.
I could see maybe once, twice,
Well,
but
and it's like when they went toe dash, of course you're not going to notice because you're also not there. But
But
yeah, but that's not
before
the only
that,
time she's
no.
done that. It's like she does this every night, right?
Roland said she had been doing it already. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a very good gunslinger.
Yeah, what's your name? You want to be a gunslinger? Yeah. So what? Why is Mia here? I guess so. There's the Andy questions. Now we got like the Mia questions. First of all, that whole scene is pretty awesome when it comes to Mia.
The swamp
So
scene.
the 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 contrast between what she's seeing and the reality. And Roland's watching her. He can tell by the way she's like sloshing dead bugs around and stepping on frogs that like she's at a banquet and she's
Forget that
having the
she's
time of her
talking
life.
out loud. Like he can hear her.
Well, that too, yeah. She's talking to herself in like three different voices. I think one of them was actually Detta, wasn't it? So she's not gone.
I think so.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Well, like one of them was like a really deep voice, like a man's or something, and I'm like, okay, so we're going Reagan and The Exorcist here. Great.
Yeah, we're going with that guy on Netflix, the 24 personalities of Billy somebody. Like how many more are hiding in there?
Yeah. I actually, when I was like, I take notes as I read sometimes, and I wrote that. I was like, how many personalities does this bitch need?
Right?
I
And
think Roland says that at one point. He's like, "Now there's a fourth person in there."
Well, she kind of does too. At the end, she's like, "But I'm fixed. I'm whole. Like this shouldn't be happening anymore." I was like, "Oh, that's a little sad."
I know.
What made Mia come forth? Why did she? Why couldn't
The baby, right?
like the baby created her?
Maybe
Why couldn't Susanna be pregnant? Just be Susanna? Why would what made it?
because things have
Uh,
to be complicated.
Well, I never considered that, but it could be because but why would her subconscious want to protect that baby? I guess would be the question.
Maybe
Maybe.
because if Susanna knew, like, figured out that it wasn't Eddie's, that she wouldn't keep it, so it's protecting itself.
The baby's protecting itself?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not what I thought Mia is, I'm afraid to say it because I don't know if that's because I've read it before. So
Maybe Susanna didn't call Mia at all.
right, that's what I was thinking.
Maybe, and I don't know or remember. I guess you do, and everyone's top of my head, but maybe like you're saying, it's protecting itself. So maybe Mia came from
The
the
baby.
real father,
Right.
whoever that is. That was or the other father. I think that's technically still ambiguous at this point,
Careful.
right?
It left
Yeah.
a residual of itself to protect its offspring.
No, I mean, we don't know for a fact that it's not Eddie's baby. We're just assuming.
Well,
Right.
But it would be
I mean,
either
not
Eddie's.
us. I mean, in the book, there are like Roland and Suzanne, or Roland's assuming it's not Eddie's. He doesn't.
yeah.
We don't know
Well,
yet.
Susanna's assuming she's not pregnant.
Yeah, that was. I don't know enough to reconcile that.
Well,
But
to her credit, she's still getting her period. So a lot of
that's
women.
what I mean. I know that does happen sometimes.
It's not very common.
So, right, is that what's going on? Is she bleeding for another reason? Is it not that kind of bleeding?
You know what? I wonder. It's almost like between Mia and her still like getting her period. It's like the baby is hiding itself until it's too late.
That would make sense.
Suzanne's starting to figure it out though. Like, isn't she like, wait?
Well, I would
that?
hope so. It's her body, like Ali said, but
Yeah.
Well, but even in the story, she was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be humiliating if I got as big as my friend who thought she was pregnant so much that she looked like she was pregnant?"
Oh,
Just
that's
wasn't
right.
gonna say anything till she knew for sure or something. Yeah.
She's worried that it's not real, but she wants it to be real. Yeah, and Eddie's. Yeah.
Seems like an overreaction. Like, I'm not gonna tell them until I know for sure. Like, what are they gonna do? Be like, oh my god, you lied about it.
Yeah, like you made your belly grow big.
Right. You lying bitch. Don't ever talk to me again.
We don't have psychosomatic symptoms around here, okay?
Yeah. I don't have time for fancy problems. We got wolves coming, and I said it was like 150 pages before they even got to the Calla. Like, there was so much going on, and they weren't even at the damn town yet. I was like, oh my god.
Already, I forgot why this book is so much, because it's like we have the drama of the pregnancy and the drama of New York and the number 13 and trying to save the rose and the drama of the wolf. I'm like, so much.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they're still technically not even in the town, are they? They're still in the forest, like down from the town.
Well, where do they have the meeting at? Is that in the town? No, that's just with the 6 people, right? Yeah, so they haven't even made it to fucking. I was about to say made. Calibre and Sturgis yet.
Oh, the blue 4 special plates made a comeback though.
Yeah. Hi, Dad. Thank you for that.
That was funny. He's like, shoot these, and he's like, click, and they're like. I like the whole scene. He's just, I could just picture him like not looking, like, what do you do? And Jake's like, I blah 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 blah. I shoot with my heart, and he's like, shoot these, just like not even looking, throwing them up in the air.
Yeah. And Roland's like, oh, I'm so tired of this. All right, here we go. Jake, ready? Shoot. God, you ready? Got your proof? All right, let's go.
They want to be saved, but they want reassurance or something like that. So they don't have to actually worry about anything.
It's like, I do get it, because it's like, that's what building trust is about. So it's like, they want to have immediate trust and not have to worry about anything else.
That's not how this works.
Right.
I will not be convincing anybody. I told you, I'm not convinced. You said it. I heard you do your big.
Yeah. I like Tia though. He's got heart.
Yeah, I think that was actually Callahan. He was like, I know.
Oh,
He tells Callahan like 4 times. He's like, I'm not convincing anybody. He's like, all right, fine, I get that, but can you just talk and let them convince themselves?
Sorry, I'm just gonna make a joke. Like, these aren't the people of blood, all right? They're a little smarter.
It doesn't. One of them thinks that, like, what a difference between Ludd and Calibre and Sturgis, huh?
Yeah.
Like, they were descended into madness and fighting over something they don't even remember why.
Yeah.
And they're all, the Cal's all high society, like Overhold, their things she's shit. Roland had to be like, hey man, stop. Right? This is what civilized people do, right? So fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, we finally go Toadash.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I finally get to talk about Toadash, and there was monsters with birds' heads. I don't think we know what they are yet, though.
I mean, we do, but
So they go Toadash, which means they're. I don't. Where are they there? They're not there. They're not in the place they left, but they have a placeholder, which is kind of weird too.
yeah, I don't understand why. Who's that for? The universe?
But yeah, but they're not actually in the place they go to because they can't interact with anything. So
It's kind of like I imagine it's like being on the astral plane because I've been there a lot. But
I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say being on acid. I'm like, well,
no. Well, I mean,
I'm not gonna say no. Yeah, I forgot about the dark. Like that's how you know. Like everything is dark, even when it's not 80 degrees and sunny. The edges are dark.
Well,
So
it's
if you
the dark.
ever-
The dark is the ball, though, right? Like, can you go Toadash without the ball?
I don't remember.
I think you can because they said something like Black 13 will make you. Yeah, I wrote it down. It makes you go Toadash whether you want to or not. So.
Could you imagine? Like, no wonder Callahan wants to get rid of the damn thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, where did you get this from?
Like, can't you put like a barrier around? Yeah, well, I'm hoping that's in his backstory.
I don't even remember, to be honest. So I am too.
Yeah, I don't. I remember, well, there's things I remember and things that I don't, and we'll just wait till we read them. But I don't remember Black 13 being part of his adventures.
Maybe
like
it
I
was
said-
already in the Calla.
Yeah, I feel like the Manny had something to do with it for some reason.
Oh, I think you're right. Actually, okay, yeah, we'll probably get there.
So more importantly, so they go Toadash. I
The
like how
chimes were or whatever they call the Hammond, something like that, are the signal of Toadash to me, and then the blackness is the ball.
well the chimes mean you're out of time, right?
Well, chimes mean that it's like, doesn't it happen at the beginning too? Doesn't it, like you're moving in and then you're moving out?
Does it? Don't they like go to sleep and then just wake up Toadash? That's kind of the impression I got.
Yeah, but he said, like, remember before, who was there first? Eddie? Before he opened his eyes, like he was just talking about the chimes and how it was like overwhelming.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
How weird would it be like Jake's watching himself? Like I calls him Kid 77. Jake was watching Kid 77.
Yeah. He's so
Um,
good at that though. Like he like labels things and then references them in that same way. So I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I love it. It's the little nicknames that he gets. And it's perfect. Kid 77. I know who he means.
Exactly.
Because I'm not getting to go, wait, which Jake is that? Like, nope. Don't need to worry about any of that. I have to look at my copy of Charlie the Choo Choo to see who wrote it. I don't think it's upstairs.
Mine says
But what's the deal with that?
well,
What does it mean that somebody else wrote that book?
it's hard.
This is just my supposing, but like he put himself on the sign
I was gonna, I
at
was like,
Midworld, and I mean Richard Bachman is his pen name for the other stories that he wrote. That whatever reason he gave it a pen name.
Holy
So
crap, I missed that. Wait, what sign? Oh, right here. I got it. Wait. Killed Stephen King. Raymond Chandler. I don't see Bachman.
No, Bachman is what he changes the name to on Charlie the Choo Choo.
Oh,
It's the last name.
I didn't even put that together.
After all this time, me neither. Is there a bigger riddle here? How many letters is that? Oh, Amber, by the way, you're welcome. You have 19 letters in your name.
I do. Fine. Wait.
So do I.
No way. What?
I think we should go in 19, man. 6, and 7.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7.
I don't know if I can figure Debbie out. Well, I mean, I can figure it out. I don't know if I did. Oh no, she doesn't work. She's got Rose. Not enough letters.
Well, she's Cat Rose. I mean,
Oh, well, yeah, maybe that makes up for it. She's got the damn Rose in her name. Yeah. So so are they? It starts getting complicated. So this tells me that they're in a different level of the tower. I don't know how to say that exactly.
a different
Than
version of New York.
than the one that they have to save Calvin Tower in, basically, right? Or do they have to save him in all universes?
Save
Because
him.
if someone else wrote this book, they're not at the place that they were trying to get back to, right?
Yes. Well, yeah, I would
Or
say
if
that
you do it
that's
anywhere, if you do it in one universe, does it just kind of like ripple through the other ones, so you don't have to keep doing it over and over again?
what do you mean?
Like, can they just go to any universe where that situation? Like, can they go to
Well,
Manhattan Restaurant of the Mind in any universe and talk to any Calvin Tower, and it'll work for all of them?
so this is just like that was not their first encounter. This is just for them to get information. So to be honest, I think it doesn't really matter because they got the information they needed. I don't know if that matters which New York they were in. So I do think yes.
The information would be the same no matter which New York they were in.
I'm not gonna, say that 100%, but it feels like based off of the information that we got from that encounter, yes, it would not have mattered because they just
Yeah.
needed to know what, like, um,
They needed to see that contract basically, so they knew how much time they had. Like,
right,
I don't
right,
know,
right.
they didn't know that, and I don't understand. Like Suzanne is right. Okay, so they went Toadash so they could look at the agreement between Balzar and Tower and Deep Note.
Power.
Wait, which one was the fat one? Is that Tower?
I think.
I didn't realize he was a fat guy until like they went Toadash and he called one of them the fat guy or something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I was like, oh, here we go. So the reason they went Toadash was to see that Sombra Brothers was going to basically ask him to sell that to him in a year or in a month. So they have to go back a year. And what are they trying? They're trying to buy. Yeah, they're trying to buy it before Sombra does that lot.
Yeah, which all of this feels very Deus Ex Machina. He's like, what is happening?
Yeah, it starts to get a little weird, and like the pace starts taking off. You're like, wait, then you're going to go from this, and then you're going to go back to the Calla, and they're going to be voting, and then you're going to go
Well, I just mean
Toadash again, and then you're going to go Mia. And
I'm only talking about the Sombra Corporation, like the deal, the contract for the vacant lot, basically, where it's like, it's wonderful that they were given, like he was able to hold on to it for at least an extra year. Now they have a whole month to figure it out. Like I get time is skipping when they go ahead, but it's just like, why would they have a year to begin with? It doesn't make any sense.
To give them time to deal with the wolves and to figure out.
Right, exactly.
if they have Black 13, they can go anywhere. They don't need time.
Well, apparently Black 13 doesn't think they can go anywhere. So.
Although he did say every time they go back, time goes faster, and every time they go back, they start where they left off, so they can't go. For some reason, they can go back to that one spot, but they can't go any further before that.
Right.
At least currently.
Like I might have started that cycle a little like further back if I'd have known that. Like, let's go back to 1920 and just like hang out for a little bit.
It's like we're pretending like they had anything to do with it. They didn't even know the ball was there when they went Toadash the first time, or any of the times to be fair. But like, they didn't get to decide. It just like I feel like it took them to that time in New York.
Yeah.
But isn't that the exact time they were saying they needed to go to?
Well, they figured that
Oh.
out after, though.
Oh, that was after? No.
That was when they formed their plan. I was like, whoa, wait, we can
Oh, okay. Right. They formed a plan because it took them there and they thought, okay.
Right.
Right. It showed them the contract and they were like, oh, wait a second. We got to do something about this.
Henry Dean, the great sage and eminent junkie. I was like, Roland killed him, didn't he? Eddie nodded. It was simpler than trying to explain how Jack Andolini had happened to die blind and faceless beneath the tearing claws and ripping jaws of the atrocities on the beach.
I feel like he could have just said, no, the monsters killed him. Like, why is that so hard? Jake's seen enough.
Right. And that's Eddie. He's supposed, world's most well-read junkie.
But also, I remember specifically from that part too when he was telling, maybe he was recalling where he was telling Jake, but like he's like, I left out the part where my brother's dead head was like thrown in the room to try to pull us out.
Yeah, I forgot about that kind of because like it wasn't that long ago. You would still be fucked up over that.
Yeah.
He would think.
He hasn't had Susanna. Well, she didn't lose anything except Detta, I guess. She didn't really lose her either because she's in there somewhere because he was talking to her. Okay, I'm trying to get past the Toadash part. The chimes. Yeah, they seem to be annoying. I thought they were helpful, but they become ear splitting. So, me had been born out of the what? The elder was a fourth woman. She had been born out of the third, and yet another time of stress and change. So every time Susanna gets stressed, somebody gets created.
I do think, like at a very basic level, that's where the disorder comes from, but or how it's triggered. But
right, she's like the Hulk man. Don't make her angry.
I can't imagine how it feels for her because again, she was like, I thought I was fixed. Like how? Like imagine if you like, I would be thinking, how many more people are inside of me?
Yeah.
I think she says that like someone that is told they're cancer free, and 5 years later they're like, well, it's interesting that Mia has legs. Is that how is that possible? What is the point? Why does Mia have legs? None of the other personalities have legs, right? They all take over the body. Where does Mia even think she is most of the time? Like she seems to be very unaware of anything else.
Mia?
While Susanna actually is starting to go, what the fuck is going on here? Something's not right. She starts to suspect that there's another personality in her.
Yeah, but Susanna's the host. Like, it makes sense for the other personalities not to know about each other.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Like, look at Detta.
Well, Detta knew about Odetta. Odetta had no idea about Detta.
That's a good point.
Yes, called her like the other or something, I think, at some point. She made her way slowly down the table, talking to herself in many voices, creating a kind of lunatic chit-chat. If they ever do put this on screen, can't wait for that part. I like how Oi went Toadash with him too. And he's just like terrified, like standing in the sidewalk in the expo, like going, "Whoa, what the fuck is this?"
He's probably never even he's never seen a car before.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Skyscraper or
He's like, I'm never going to sleep again.
But I mean, of course he's gonna go. He's part of the quartet. So.
He's Jake's quartet. I don't know if he's ever Roland's.
Yeah, they're the 5 of them.
I know. I'm just saying. He likes Jake more than anybody else. Like Jake's the reason he's there. Like if Jake left the quartet, I'm not sure we'd see. Boy.
Right.
Jake better never leave then.
Well, yeah, there's that.
The rest of the quartet still cares about Oi though.
Yeah, I like Oi. And every time they like make him talk in the audiobook and he sounds like a grumpy old man, like his gruff voice. Like I'm like, no, that's not no. It's not always should not sound like an old man. That's weird. Um I like how I was like Vinay had mentioned Toadash, or maybe you capitalized it. Toadash. I don't think I've ever had a thought like that. Well, not if I'm not if I'm writing something, I've had that thought. If I'm just sitting there like, thinking about stuff, I've never made that distinction.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
use like grammar when I think.
right. Yeah. Like, oh, that was a comma, not a period. Um, I like how Roland just decides like, all right, well, they're going Toadash, so I guess they're gonna have to be all right. So I'm following Susanna.
Yeah.
But he decided she was more
How the
important for some
content
reason.
literally just disappeared, and how are you not concerned?
Yeah, I think I would be more like, okay, I think Susanna's good because at least I know what she's up to. Like, what the fuck is going on with the people that just disappeared in front of me?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, Susanna's been doing this for a while. I'm like, what's gonna happen?
It's probably like, well, they're gone, so either they're gonna come back or they won't. Roland's very pragmatic.
Well, he also said that he can't touch them or could risk like shaking them out of it, like making them go Toadash, whatever.
Yeah, and they weren't. Their bodies were still there. They were just glimmering or something the first time, but the second time they were gone, and it was like a outline of where they were. Right? So, were they like more Toadash the second time?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was light here, some sort of faint and unfocused radiance with lie just beneath the surface, emanating from submerged and slowly rotting logs. Like what light comes from rotting logs? Anyway, where are we at? So I think we might actually be able to be done here in a minute. Although I'm only like halfway through. Did we talk about anything?
What?
I think we covered a lot of it, actually.
So, I said, did we talk about everything? I think we might be. So basically, I think. Why did you want to go stay with Callahan?
Well,
C13.
But I don't think I'd want to stay there, knowing that thing was there.
probably because he knows Callahan's not like invested in the town because like weren't they? I feel like in that moment there was like two people that were offering him, and he was like, Callahan, what you got? Like or maybe it's like you're one of. Wait, no, Roland is from that world. Never mind.
Yeah, Oberholzer and Tian. Fuck, can't keep it apart. Tian's the root one, right?
Oh,
Tian.
you know what? That's exactly what it is. He doesn't want to pick sides.
That makes sense.
That could be. I mean, for that matter, just sleep in the woods. I like how they were following him for like 5 days, and they thought they were so crafty.
Yeah, like you
when did you know
fire.
we were here? He was like, about 3 days ago, and he's like, right. So as soon as we started following you, great.
Yeah.
Well, except like no one else but Roland noticed at first.
That's yeah. I'm not sure what the Dutch thing was about. They started going off on that, like Dutch Hill, Calvin Tower was Dutch.
I think they're
Okay.
saying because Tower's real name is Touwen or Torin, and it means tower in Dutch, and like
Was that his real name? I thought he was just like fucking with him. I didn't really know what was going on there. That guy kept calling him. Andolini kept calling him Torin, right? Or was it Balazar? One of them two.
So that was my thought at first too. But there was a few things. One, he starts to say, "For the record, I had it legally changed," and then he gets cut off, and I was like, "Oh, what? Like that was his name?" And then, when they had in that whole discussion, they talk about it how like, I don't even remember something about he came from the Torrens and it's his family's duty to protect the tower or something like that.
Oh, here you go. Maybe the only thing standing between the Somber Corporation and the Rose is one nearly broke fat guy. Well, there's the fat guy part. Who changed his name? He's what do you call someone who loves books? A bibliophile. So he changed his name to Tower.
Yes.
So he's obsessed with the tower and he doesn't even know it or know why.
Um,
And
I mean, we
and
don't know that he doesn't know why, but
oh, I just assume he didn't. I guess I don't. I don't know. Maybe he finds out. Um, and all this. How does what? How did he come to own that lot? Do we know that? Because that's what all this is about: is the rose and the lot. And I hate that rose. To the core. That thing makes me nervous. So right now, the only thing stopping them from like I don't know destroying the rose is uh the fat guy with the who likes to read books and has no money. So
yeah,
why didn't they just buy the damn lot from him? What is this wait a year shit?
that was what I said, and like Ellie said, so that they have time to solve everything.
Right.
I
But-
mean, yes, that I I still stand by that, but at the same time, like if it's really just about the lot and the rose and it's really about the rose, what is the point of them like needing to buy the lot in order to do something with it? Like obviously you can easily jump the fence and just go in there. Why don't they just pluck the damn rose or something? Like
Remember what happened last time they got near the rose?
well, and
I
to
think
that,
Jake went to that.
oh,
I mean,
well,
the rose protects itself. I think didn't I know what they said something like that?
yeah, I believe
So
so.
it
That's
makes I agree though. Like I just like what's to stop some homeless guy from like passing out on top of it and like crushing it or something?
what's to stop the Crimson King from finding a way to just go there and crush it? Like that's what I don't get. Why do you have to?
Yeah, why
buy-
can't Andolini and Balazar just like
Right.
take a backhoe and dig the thing up,
yeah.
like light the whole thing on fire? It's I don't know when the rose became a part of it.
And like, so what if you legally own the property, then the rose is going to be like, okay, now you can destroy me. Like, what is that?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, you own it now. All right, cool. That's what I was waiting for, man. Just do it the right way. I won't complain. Um,
I'm an expensive rose.
right.
I just want you to fight over me.
There's only one thing left to sell. Lot 298 on Block 19 in Turtle Bay. Wow, that's like an Easter egg sentence.
Well, I feel like
And
that entirety is Easter egg central, probably.
yeah,
Like I know
290.
we haven't really seen the turtle in this thus far, but
I feel like he's there
didn't think
somewhere.
of that.
He's definitely well. He's the other side of the bear, right? Isn't it the
Yeah.
path of the whatever it's called, way of the turtle, pass of the bear, something like that. To the voice of the turtle. So the rose is the voice of the turtle, according to them. Whatever that means. I don't know what the fuck that means. Roland treats the rose like when they actually get there, he's like, I don't know, he has some kind of like revelation, like he didn't know the rose was even involved. The rose is I forget how he words it. I gotta find it. It was
That the rose is
another tower or a door to the tower or something like that. I don't think we even figured that part out. Like, is the rose the tower or is it
a portal
I
to
don't
the
know,
tower.
or a symbolic representation? I know it's not symbolic. It's not like a metaphor or a placeholder or
It could. That is
like what happens to the tower if I could destroy the rose? I don't think I understand that.
Yeah, I don't. It's like two halves of a whole or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe, so if the maybe, and this is I don't even know if this is true or not, but like if I don't know if the tower exists outside of Roland's world or in Roland's world. I get that it's like all the universes, but maybe like the tower is Roland's version and the rose is our version.
maybe. So the rose is the tower's representation in New York.
Right. But then it's like you get to the question of like, well, does every universe have their own representation then? Like, what is the point? Or is it just these two are so special?
Yeah, why do we even care about the beams if all you gotta do is go after the rose?
That's my point. Like, what is
Yeah.
the Crimson King doing?
Making it up as he goes, apparently. Um, yeah. So, reading through my things. I like how he says an old teacher of mine used to call it what is it? If not sure if Roland
Oh, a
said
thousand words.
the only word 1,000 letters long. I was like, oh, I say
Yeah.
that like should all the time, but he said it way better than I did. I was like, I hate should. Don't tell me any sentence with should. I'm gonna start saying that. The only word 1,000 letters long. And by the
What
time they figure out what I mean,
I guess
what?
if you're asking, what if you never mind. I was like, what sentence starts with should? But like then I was like, aren't they all appropriate? Like, but I don't think that's what you
Well,
meant.
what's the policy on doing an update? Something. Well, it should be like I didn't ask you what it should be.
Oh yeah, that is not an answer.
Yeah, no, I get that all the time. Uh, like Eddie's like talking about Jake. Like poor kid didn't know he'd been poisoned. That made him pretty dumb because no one should have known better. Well, damn,
Well, he
judgy.
said him of all people should know better, which I've always felt. I'm like, why do you inherently trust this man that's already let you die?
I have to say, like if I was Jake, I'd be like, oh, I'm not following you. Fuck you, buddy. Try that and see how that worked out for me. I'm not going back. Instead, Jake's like, Roland, please come get me.
Yeah. I like how
That
that randomly came up where it was like, yeah, I mean, if you went back or if you were still there, then you would have had therapy to deal with the issues with your parents. And it's like, oh, that's wishful thinking. Like, what?
yeah, that sounds normal. Uh, yeah, aiming time like a gun. That's what it says. I heard you speak of aiming time like a gun, and Jake filled with horror.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
I heard you aiming. I heard you speak of aiming time like a gun.
Oh, yeah.
That was. I was trying to remember the metaphor he said. I didn't quite get it. So I think that's where we leave off. Right? Copyright 1936. Numbers switch out of 19. Everything. I got some of the 19 references. I didn't even try to get them off because it was just. You're right. They're all over the place.
It kind of, I mean, at this point, I just assume that everything means 19. Well,
and that's probably what you should do.
Well, there's still a distinction that we haven't really figured out yet. So I'm like, it does mean something. What?
I just don't know what.
Well, 19 and 99. Does it mean something? Charlie Tree keeps coming up.
Yeah.
I like how
what do you? Oh my god.
Yes, I know what it means. It's not my point.
Like talk about Deus Ex Machina. That's like all going 19.
Yeah,
Anyway.
pretty much. It makes it fun though. I mean, this is like I said, this is when the tower starts really becoming the tower. There's so much going on all the time. Like they don't get. It's like they don't get a break. They don't get a moment to just chill. Like, all right, well, Jake does because he hangs out with Jake. But,
yeah, I
like
felt a little bad when Jake starts befriending the other boy, and then he has to like go full gunslinger to prove that he actually knows what he's doing. Roland's like, yeah, now things will never be the same between them. And I was like, aw.
Yeah. So, question: then why didn't he have Eddie shoot the plates and let Jake still be a boy?
Well, I think they were questioning whether or not it was like you claim to all be gunslingers, but one of you is black and the other's a child.
Okay, so it had to be like Eddie or Susanna or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Jake or Susanna.
Yeah.
Could be. I'm with Roland. Like either you want my help or you don't. Don't give me this fucking. We want your help, but prove that you're worth it.
Well, it also makes it way more refreshing that people that like see him and they're like, oh, gunslinger, like and like bow to his knees to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's still like I don't know, edge of the world. How many years later, and they like still hold pretty fiercely to these old traditions. Gilead. I mean, he even calls it Gilead. That was. It doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
Um, what's your birthday, Cy? Eddie thought he might be ready for this one. I'm Goat Moon. Goat with a beard. What does that mean? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Nope.
Like he was ready for that one. I'm Goat Moon. Like, okay. I guess that's a horoscope that we don't know about. Speaking of horoscopes,
Yeah, I guess it's because they don't know that like part of what Andy's saying is true, but like they seem to brush off his like premonitions.
yeah. I mean, fuck. He tells Eddie he's going toe dash to New York. Like, wait. Hold on. How do you know that? Like, Directive 19? No, fuck that.
And he tells them when they're coming. He's like, there are strangers on the outside of town, like which I get because he could be traveling, but I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, like Roland said, like when they're coming because there's nothing around, so you have days to look out on the horizon and see if anything's coming. But yeah, why the fuck does this robot want to read everybody's horoscope? So it's like a kink in his personality that robots don't have.
Maybe just because there's nothing else to do.
What does he care? He's a robot.
Yeah, but you might still get bored.
Robots don't get bored.
I like how you said that so casual.
I know.
I don't know.
Robot rights.
It's very likely in this story, but like, yeah, in general, robots are not supposed to get bored.
He does seem on the edge of a personality though, between Eddie and between like the horoscopes. That it's like he almost is doing it himself.
Yeah.
But he's like it's Andy control. I don't know. Does Andy go back wherever he goes at night and like oil himself up or make sure his like joints are still working? Or is
Right.
somebody else doing that?
Like what if this is like him devolved or not devolved, like what was the purpose of him being like this?
Well, yeah, he's a messenger robot, whatever that means.
Many other functions.
That means he can also read your horoscope.
Oh crap, I forgot he's a messenger robot. Yeah, so he's telling them about the wolves. So I have a feeling that makes me feel like it's very likely Andy came with them.
With the wolves?
What else would he? Yeah, I mean, I guess there maybe were other things. I don't know. I don't know what they needed messenger robots for back then, but
Why don't the wolves take singletons?
Maybe there's not something special enough about them.
Right? That's not fair. If there's only one. So...
somehow I doubt that's it.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too. But what is it? That's like a free lunch, a singleton, the way I see it.
That is
Like, you don't even have to pick; you just take it.
Maybe it's because they won't have enough. Like they're worried about continuing on. Like if you take one of every two, then you at least have another one to keep building society.
No, well, that's a good point. If you take then there won't be anyone left to have more babies.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So they're making sure they're feeding it's a farm, basically. Like a human farm.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that's why, because I mean, even nowadays, people who have twins in their family are more likely to continue to have twins when they have kids. So maybe they were
like
specifically bred to have primarily twins.
Oh my gosh, around in all the Callas. That's a good point. Ew.
Maybe they can stop doing
would
it.
take generations to do that.
Maybe they should stop having twins and only have the singletons mate.
You can't control that.
Well, like cattle. So you stay over here and you stay over there. Like the hamsters, we have to separate the cage when they have kids.
Yeah, but you can't separate the eggs, like.
Well, right, you can't control that necessarily, but if you do only singletons, it would be less and less, right? Wouldn't it? And then if the Singletons have twins, then you know, I don't know.
No, but you're talking about if the people are trying to save themselves, like.
Yeah, I guess that's a little much, but
They might not even realize. Probably.
here's like a year and a half, no longer than that, and then we're done. It's like I wonder how long it seems to them. And Suzanne is like endless. It must seem endless. I'm like, oh, it's kind of good. Gives you the right emotion, I guess, for what they're going through.
Wait, I didn't even catch that. That's right. They said 18 months for them to take all of the kids.
18 months for them to get 7 feet tall and the bones grow and all that.
Oh, okay. Which is
For
still
eight,
a
for
long time.
It's
But I
a
was
fucking
thinking,
eternity for crying all day for a year and a half.
no, that's awful. The first thought I had was that they're doing this over a period of 18 months, which I was like, that's awful. It's terrorizing.
Oh.
Like every day your child could be snatched.
Oh, fuck that. Oh my god, no. They even tried to, yeah, and it's interesting that they have some kind of like radar that tells them where the kids are, but not good enough to get them all. Sometimes they find them, some escape. So, okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like they were able to find their hiding places, but they don't get all of the twins.
Yeah, a couple of them escape. Like it's almost like if there's too many in one spot, they're gonna find them.
Maybe they have like heat sensors or something.
Maybe it's like fucking psychic brain waves, some shit that's how they find them,
Oh,
like
that's
brain
true.
activity.
Yeah.
So when they're all together, there's more, they're clearly taking something out of their brain. So I feel like the wolves can probably detect something along those lines. So maybe if you scatter, they're less likely to be able to find you, as a matter of fact. Anybody ever tried that?
That's true.
I like, his bones went on yet a while. His skeleton, do you? Wait, his skeleton? Isn't that Jack's last? Isn't that Jack's last name?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if that was on purpose.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, their hair turned white and fell out. Their eyes dim. Yeah, how long does it take them to die? I don't think I caught that, but not long, right? They just bam. They open. It's like they're fine and root and big and eating tater tots one day, and then like they're old and dying the next.
It's so
Yeah.
strange. Yeah.
The whole idea of root is pretty awful.
Yeah.
Well, good thing we're reading fiction, right? And so I think, did they vote yet? Or technically no, right? Technically we have to go back to the town and they have to decide whether to let Roland help them, even though that's not the way it works.
Still have to convince the other two, I think.
Quote unquote convince.
Right. And so green cloaks on gray horses.
And they said something about like they wear wolf masks, but their skin looks like it's decaying.
Yeah, it's metal, but it's organic somehow, I think is what they said. So, and why, wait, so do the wolves throw these masks off and just leave them there when they leave? Like, why was there random masks just laying on the ground?
Maybe some people tried to fight back. I don't know.
Could be.
I picture Dr. Doom on horses, a bunch of Dr. Dooms on horses.
Well, I don't know if you what version you have, but the book that I have has a pretty good depiction on the front.
Mine has I have to go. I'm not going back to that right now. Right. Well, I could. But
I have the probably the newest one, the one that has mentions the movie on the front.
It's yuck.
But
the beginning of the book, you mean, or the?
So on the cover of Wolves of the Calla, there's a picture of the wolf man in the green hood. What is he holding? Actually,
I got Susanna in a chair throwing plates.
I have a church with a train track and a skull.
Wow, there's so much on this cover. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, there's a keyhole with a rose and a revolver inside of it.
See, then don't forget to look at the back. Sometimes it wraps around.
But yeah, I'll just send you a picture. It has the horse and I guess their version of the wolf. Oh, by the way, real quick, we didn't mention the lightsabers too.
The shock sticks or whatever they are.
The light sticks, yeah.
I definitely thought lightsaber too. Well, and Andy kind of reminds me of C-3PO.
That's very
but like a weird version.
A little bit more boxy. Like Eddie seems like a box, metal, like his torso is a box, is a squared off.
Mm. So more like a
Um,
bender than a 3CPO.
yeah,
like the
yeah.
Iron Giant looking, but smaller.
Yeah.
He actually talks about the Phantasm movie. I forgot about that. Because it reminds Eddie of the same thing it reminded me of. I guess
That's
it
what I.
reminded Stephen King of that.
But on the picture, the wolf is they're holding the lightsabers. That's why I'm like, yep, that's definitely what they are.
Yeah, they're like, are they lightsabers? Oh, I thought they were like electric sticks or like shock sticks.
Electric,
Like stun guns.
sticks of light that like are full of electricity or whatever. I'm like, that sounds like a lightsaber to me.
Well,
Yep.
a lightsaber will fucking cut your ass in half, and shock stick will just fucking make you uncomfortable for a little while.
Well,
Well,
shock stick would be like a cattle prod, but that
Yeah,
wouldn't kill you.
thing. Either way, it would be
they
great.
talked about it burning. They talked about it searing the skin. So that's why I'm like, I feel like that's like the lightsaber.
Oh,
Yeah.
and by the way, we got a bunch of Jericho Hill stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
See, there's so much fucking going on.
Okay, so I
We're
think
gonna
I
read
may
like
have
50 pages next time.
I'm gonna have to reread that section, but were they saying that Roland and Cuthbert killed Elaine?
That's what it sounded like.
Yes, but it sounds like one of those things where, like, what Rhea did to him. I don't think they did it
Well,
on
right.
purpose.
I didn't think I know that. I mean, I just wasn't. It was really unclear even when I was reading. I'm like, what happened?
I think got shot like 5 times, and he was like laughing till the end. Like
That seems very much like a thing that Cuthbert would do.
that's what I was saying. I like Cuthbert. I wish I had more of him.
Yeah.
But that seems right up his alley. He's like, fuck, if I'm gonna die, I'm taking him with me. Let's go.
Well, and the way it was written, because they were saying like betrayed by one of our own, and then Elaine being shot by his two best friends, I was like, wait, he wasn't the one that betrayed him, was he? Like that would be awful.
Well, there's a graphic novel I think that answers that question, and I don't remember what happened. I have to go get it and read it.
That was my thought too, but I think I remember they were saying that somebody else had set them up, and that's how they got ambushed or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't think it was. Well, I was gonna say like, when does the tower become? It's before. It's when he's in the pink ball, right? That the tower becomes his obsession. So it's before Jericho Hill, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, is Cuthbert and Elaine the first casualties to the tower? I don't think we know that.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
I'm
Or
sure they wouldn't
I
be
don't
first
I don't think
ever.
Roland betrayed them though. I don't remember, honestly. I think someone else must have, like, where he thought he was shooting Rhea and it was his mom, kind of thing.
yeah.
But yeah, that whole, like, there was so many hints to things that he never really finished talking about, especially when you go to Jericho Hill. Like, oh man, I want to read that story.
Yeah. That
'Cause
seems
that's
like
like,
it would be heartbreaking.
yeah, like that's like the final. I guess that's when the good man, known as Walter, attacked Gilead, which is weird because Walter, also known as Martin, lived in Gilead with the.
Yeah,
But
but
not if you think to say.
if nobody saw the good man, then they wouldn't know.
Yeah, it was. I'm not. We spent enough time trying to figure that shit out. All right, and so, where do we leave him? We're going back to the
Basically,
Calla.
Roland is like, all right, we got to get some sleep because I have a feeling we're going to be busy for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the rose affected Roland a lot more than I thought it was going to. He was enamored with that thing. It was almost like he didn't understand fully why he was going to the tower, but like the rose told him everything he needed to know. So, and if Roland's just figuring out why he's going, what the hell? So part 2 is called Telling Tales. So I'm assuming at least Callahan's story is coming up next. So I'm excited for that. I want to read that. I remember it being a fun, horrible story. Very, one of those like, am I insane or is that really happening? Because he's like in the middle. Most of his story is in the middle of New York City. Yeah, I think we're good. I actually made it to the end. I had to actually buy the Kindle audiobook because the Google one that I downloaded was missing. Like every like 6th word was randomly missing. So I could still read it, but it was getting annoying. So I bought the Kindle one. So the first half of my notes are on the Google one, and the second half are on the Kindle one. So that got complicated. All right. So what's next? I love this book more than I remembered. Just every page is like, oh, I remember that, and then, oh, I remember that. Like we have.
When I read it the first time, I was annoyed by this book because I was like, oh my God, we have to do a detour in this stupid town. And I'm like, I need to get to the tower and I need to know what's going on and how this ends. Like, I felt like I'd been reading for so long. And I was just like, but like now I'm enjoying it so much more.
You feel that way, Alex? Fuck this town.
I think if I was reading it at my own pace, I would maybe feel that way because I'm like, oh, like 5 books in and we're really just getting to like the meat of what the tower is and what they need to do. But like breaking it up for the podcast and reading at that speed, I think has been nice, especially mixing in, like the short stories with it. I feel like I'm kind of spreading out what I need to know.
Yeah, well, no more spreading out. Now we're sprinting. All right. That is the end of the podcast. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.